Hello guys, this video is just it's just a video to introduce meiosis. It's a quick video. It should be very quick. Okay, we talked about what a chromosome was, and we said chromosomes are just DNA that's actually coiled together. And we talked about the levels of organization. These are all you can see how here. Okay, sorry about that. You can see how the DNA here starts to coil up, right? And we end up with a double helix. Once that double helix starts wrapping around these structures right here that are called histones, then that's called a nucleosome, okay? So it wraps around those proteins, and then those proteins start wrapping around themselves, okay? And when that happens, once they get really tight, they're called chromatin. And chromatin, again, is going to start wrapping around itself until it makes the structure that we know as a chromosome. So chromosomes are DNA. Okay, they're not different than DNA. They're just DNA and histones that are wrapped around each other really, really tight. Okay, so that's what a chromosome is. Uh, the next thing we talked about was how many chromosomes human cells have. Well, they have 46 chromosomes or 23 pairs. In the picture here, okay, it only shows 22, but that's because this chromosomes right here, this is number 23, and it could either be X and Y or X and X. And we know that X and Y is for a male, X and X is for a female. So again, in total, we have in every cell of our bodies, we have 46 chromosomes except our gametes. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Do all humans have the same number of chromosomes? Yes and no. Yes, if you don't have any genetic disorders. If you have genetic disorders, you can end up with 47, like trisomy 21 or Down syndrome, right? We talked about Down syndrome individuals having three number 21 chromosomes. Okay, so they would end up with 46 instead of 47 instead of 46. Okay, now where do the chromosomes come from? Well, they come from our parents. Okay, they come from our parents. Our parents have 46 chromosomes. Okay, so 46 from mom, 46 from dad. But the reason we don't end up with 92 is because they only give us half. Mom gives us 23 chromosomes, dad gives us 23 chromosomes. Okay, dad through the sperm cell, mom through the egg cell. And that's how we end up with 46. 23 plus 23 equals 46. Okay. Now the eggs and the sperm cells are called haploid cells. Every cell in our body except our gametes are called diploids, and that's because they each have two sets of chromosomes. Okay, so humans are diploid organisms. What that means is that every chromosome is always paired up with the homologous chromosome, okay, or a similar chromosome. If you look at these chromosomes, these two are paired up, and they're they look identical in this picture, but they're similar. These two are paired up, and they're similar. They're homologous chromosomes, okay? They're similar to each other. And every cell in our body is like that, is a diploid, except gametes, which are our sex cells. Our gametes are actually haploid, okay? They only have one set of chromosomes. And that's why the sperm and the egg cell, when they fertilize, they form a diploid cell that ends up with 46. That's why mom can give us 23 chromosomes and dad can give us another 23, and that makes 46. Okay, and that's how fertilization happens. Now, how do they manage to do that? Well, they do that, or their bodies do that, through a process called meiosis. Okay, and meiosis is a process that's very similar to mitosis, and you'll learn that as you research what meiosis is and do some of the activities that we're going to do. Okay, they do have some differences, but they're very, very similar. The primary difference is that mitosis, okay, produces two identical daughter cells with no genetic diversity. So mitosis has no genetic diversity. And usually when cells that divide through mitosis have some type of mutation, then that's when we start getting into trouble, right? Because those are going to create mutations, and mutations can or have the possibility of creating the potential of creating cancer cells. Okay, and meiosis, instead of two identical cells, produces four cells, but they are different. Okay, they're not identical, and that results in genetic diversity. Okay, and genetic diversity is very important because that's the reason why you don't look identical to your brother. If there was no genetic diversity in our population, then everybody would look the same. All the males would look the same. All the females would look the same. We wouldn't have any difference. Okay. All right. So again, make sure you go through your research. Okay. Look up what meiosis is. Make sure you research all the phases of meiosis and review so that you're able to differentiate between mitosis and meiosis. Review your notes on mitosis so that you can compare them both. Okay.